Hello and welcome to the Master Your Mind workshop, the workshop that's designed to help you to kind of master the business of you, to help you understand how you can update and align your mind to achieve the life and the results that you desire for yourself. Now, there's quite a few slides that I'm going to go through. I don't expect you to kind of keep up with them all. It's just more for reference more than anything else. So if you're new to me, if we've never met before, my name's Christian. I've been a hypnotherapist and high performance mindset coach since 2001, which in some ways seems like 5 minutes ago, and in other ways it seems like a lifetime ago. So in that time, I've worked with people from all walks of life, from I always say from house husbands to household names in fields of business, entertainment, sport, and just generally in all areas of life, helping people to change their mindset so they can achieve the things that they want. So my promise from this workshop is to help you to understand how your mind shapes every result in your business, in your life, in all areas, and discover how the hidden belief systems may be holding you back, and also to learn some practical tools, techniques, strategies to align your thoughts, your energy, and your actions with the level of success that you're ready to create. And why am I hosting this workshop for you? Lots of reasons. There's only one of me. There's a limit to how many people I can work with one-on-one. And as the world has opened up and people contact me from all different kind of corners of the globe, it's not physically possible for me to work with everybody one-on-one. And also my desire when I kind of started sharing content online on my blog, on my YouTube channel, podcast, and all the different social media channels was to allow me to help as many people as I possibly can. So this workshop is really the foundation, the starting point. I want you to imagine that we're sitting together one-on-one, and this is the exact same stuff that I take my personal clients through to help them to understand where they are, what's going on, and how we can make changes to get you to where you want to be. So that's what I want from this workshop. I want you to imagine it's just you and I. We're sat down, whether we're having a coffee somewhere, whether we're sat in my office, and we or somewhere more exotic, and we're just going to go through the same steps that I take all my clients through. And sometimes just having a different level of awareness and understanding can be enough to help people to make changes. So this, albeit it's free content, it's a free workshop for you to access. Don't overlook it for how powerful it can be. It is also going to be the foundational piece that I direct my own clients to for reference, and I also host a range of different workshops on different topics relating to the mindset. And this is the piece before that, the kind of fundamentals that I want people to kind of grasp, to know, to understand, before we can then look at how we can help to make changes in more specific ways. So that's the reason. It is not a designed to be just me talking. It is a workshop, and that means I want you to kind of go through it, and I want you to do some of the work as we're going along. Obviously, the beauty of this is that you can press pause, you can press stop, you can slow down, you can take your time, you can go as fast or as quick as you like. If you're like me, I tend to watch things on faster speed, but albeit I do talk a lot faster than a lot of other people, so maybe normal speed will be plenty for you. But just know you don't have to go through this in one sitting. You can stop, you can pause, you can go back to it, or you can go through it all in one go. So that's what the workshop's about. That's why I'm doing it. But it's not a lecture. It's not just a boring webinar where I'm just going to talk you through some nice ideas. That will be helpful, but if you actually put the work in, if you actually go through some of these techniques and strategies as we go along, you're going to get much more out of it, and you will begin to help yourself to start to make some changes that you want to make in the different areas of your life. So let's get started. What we're going to cover: what is the mindset, how your mind works, and how it could be holding you back, and how you can set your own mind up for success. So as I say, let's get started. Let's do some work. Grab a journal, grab some paper, and let's begin. So my first question for you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with your current mindset? snapshot, just first impressions, just write the number down. If 10 is high, really good, really happy, really satisfied, and 1 is the opposite, not so happy, a bit low, then just go with the first number that comes to mind. Just make a note of your current level of happiness around your own mindset. And then my follow-up question to that is, if you could wave a magic wand, what level would you like it to be? And I think it's unrealistic for us to be 10 out of 10 all the time. But the second question and the part of this question is, what would it take to get it to a 10? What's the difference? And again, a lot of this we're going to work through in a moment, but I just want you to make a note of where you're starting from. Where is your current number, and what would be the number that would be really optimal for you if you could wave that magic wand? And then on a level of percentage, how important do you feel mindset is to your success and your results? Write the number down and make a note of that, because whenever I'm teaching, and I've taught this workshop to lots of other people as well, which is another reason I didn't mention why I've chosen to do it again. Over the last couple of years, I've been asked to run workshops about mindset in other people's communities, Facebook groups, talk about this on podcasts, in other people's kind of paid for membership groups, where they've asked me to come in and talk on a topic about mindset. And whenever I do this, whether it be in person or whether it be online, it's always interesting. The numbers are usually quite high. Whatever number you've come up with doesn't really matter, but it's usually anywhere between 70 to 100% importance. But then my follow-up question is, what are you currently doing to enhance your mindset? What are you doing to work on your current mindset? And this is usually very little. There are exceptions, and I do work with people who have been working on their mindset for years. And the reason I've put this is good news, because whether you are a student of the mindset already, if you are already doing good work to help to enhance and develop your mindset, fantastic, brilliant, keep going, because we are never the finished article. We're always improving. As we learn, as we get to one stage, then the saying, what got you here won't get you there. So there's always more we can learn, develop. And again, you'll hear me say this throughout this presentation today, that it's the same as physical fitness. If you're starting from kind of the couch, your next level of fitness is not going to be the same as somebody or your future self who's been working on your fitness for months or years. And it's the same as mindset. I did martial arts for years, and again, I often make that comparison with the grading system. You come in to the training room and you're no belt, and then you earn your white belt, your yellow belt, and you work your way up to a black belt, and then there's other black belts you can earn. You start where you are, but there's always more you can do. So if you're not doing much on your mindset, great, there's plenty for you to do. And if you're already doing good things, fantastic, well done. That's got you to this point. Now let's see if we can help you to go to the next level in your mind, your life, your business, your results. And I have this kind of saying that people usually focus on strategy, some focus just on mindset, but the magic happens when you work on and you bring and you align both your strategy and your mindset. Strategy is, often I'll have people come into my consulting room and they say they know what they should and shouldn't be doing, but they're not doing it. If I'm honest, the majority of the people I work with are very clever, very intelligent, and they already know and have a good idea of what to do, but something's blocking them, something's stopping them, something's holding them back, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So the magic, the sweet spot is when we can get those two aligned, when your strategy and your mindset are working together, then that equals your success. So let's get on with what mindset is. What is mindset? Mindset is your conditioning, your habits, your programming. It's the software that you're running to, and we'll come to something in a minute, which is why I'm pausing. I'll wait till I get there. And the role of your mind in achieving your success is critical, crucial, and often the missing piece of the puzzle for a lot of people. So mindset, when I'm working with clients, and you don't have to agree with me, you don't have to believe me, but this is just a framework and model of philosophy that you can kind of help you to understand what's going on and why you maybe sometimes coming up against obstacles and hurdles, and how we can help you to change that. So for me, there's two parts of the mind that I help my clients work with. We've got the conscious part, and then we've got the subconscious part. The conscious is the logical, the analytical, the rational, the reasoning part. It's the part of you, as I said, will often be able to say what you want to change, what you want to do, knowing what to do, but you're not doing it. That part of your mind is very strong, very powerful. But in contrast to the two, it's perceived to be only about 10% of your overall mind power. So when you make that conscious decision, or, I work with people who have, strategy, business, executive coaches, and, they've mapped out the next kind of plan of action, but there's something stopping them from doing it. All that is happening at the conscious level. If you're coming up against resistance, if you're coming up against some sort of blocks, that's usually because we need to look at your subconscious. And the subconscious, as I said to you, is the autopilot part. It's the program, it's the software. Everything you've ever heard, you've learned, you've experienced from birth until this very day is looked after and stored at that level of awareness within that part of your mind. That part of the mind has two primary functions: to protect us and to maintain us, to keep us safe, to keep us secure, to keep us as we are. It doesn't have the ability to distinguish and choose between whether something's right, wrong, good or bad, positive or negative. It just assumes because you keep thinking this way, because you keep acting that way, because you keep doing these things, well, that must be what you want. So it then goes, okay, we'll look after that for you, and we'll make that on autopilot for you, because you have so many other things you have to think about every day. For your sanity, for your survival, we'll take it on and we'll run it on autopilot. Now, for all the good things you've learned in life, for all the good habits and behaviors, skills that you have, it's phenomenal. That ability to not forget how to do something. If you're walking, talking, driving, skills you've got in different areas of your life, the fact that you don't have to think about that and relearn and remember every day is brilliant. The frustration comes in when you reach a time or a point in your life where you're thinking, feeling, acting a certain way, and you want to change it. But that part of the mind is now fighting with the subconscious part of the mind, and that part of the mind will always end up winning because it's the stronger. And the iceberg analogy is one that often gets used, and it's a really great kind of representation of that. So the top bit we see above sea level looks phenomenal, massive, and really strong and powerful, but compared to what's underneath, it's just a small bit. So the subconscious is the bit that's running the show. It's the programming, it's the software, and it's like the internal GPS system that your mind is operating to. And if it's working for you and it's aligned, fabulous. But if you find yourself not doing the things you want to be doing, or things aren't quite working as effectively, as efficiently as you would like them to be, it's usually because the two are not aligned and you're operating to some out of date programming, BS, as I like to call it, out of date belief systems. So think of your own personal situation, and again, make a note of this. What do you feel could possibly be holding you back? Are you aware of any internal BS belief systems that may be out of date that hold you back? And this image is one that I think people can relate to, whether you're young enough or old enough to remember the images of the big box computer and the old, one of the very early mobile phones, not the earliest one. I couldn't find an image to represent that one. But what M.O.S are you running to? I don't know about you, but when I have my mobile phone, it prompts me very regularly to update the latest software. On my particular brand, it's iOS, the operating system. So my spin on that is the M.O.S, your mind operating system. What mind operating system are you running to? And if you were liken this to the technology and the visuals that I put on the screen, if you were having to use a computer or phone that was that old, 5, 10, 15, 20 years old, you wouldn't expect it to be able to do the things that they can do today. In its day, brilliant. It was amazing. It was wonderful. That it was advanced for its time. But now it would just be out of date. So it's not that things are right or wrong, good or bad. It's just, is it serving you? Is it where you want to be? Is it where you need to be in your life now? And if it's not, then maybe it's time to update your M.O.S, your mind operating system. If you TV, cars, phones, computers, if someone replaced one of those things with one that was 20 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, you wouldn't expect it, and you probably wouldn't be that kind of happy about it. The difference is we update those things, but very rarely to update our mindset. So this is what we're looking at today, how we can help you to do that. And this is a little bit kind of off track slightly. I probably wouldn't always share this straight away in the first session, but I included it because why not? There's a part of the mind called the reticular activated system, the RAS, and that acts like your filter. And that's why goal setting and visualizing, vision boards are so effective for a lot of people, is because you're basically activating that part of the mind, say that's important, that's relevant, and the mind then aligns towards that. But if your internal subconscious identity is running to some out of date kind of identity, I guess, if your mind is running to out of date identity, then your mind's going to be looking for supporting evidence to keep you safe, to keep you where you are, which might not be where you want to be. So that's kind of why I included that at this stage. My role as a mindset coach and how I help my clients is really they come to me with what I call their current reality. That's where they are in their life now. And then they want to achieve something. So their desired reality. And our work together, our role together, and yours by going through this workshop is to help bridge the gap between your current reality, where you are now, to where you want to be. And update any outdated BS that may be holding you back. Because that is, with the clients I work with, that is the missing piece. It's not through lack of understanding, awareness, and desire for a change, a transformation, or an outcome or a goal. It is their ability to bridge the gap. Again, if you think the mind's primary objective is to keep you safe, for your survival, for your security, to keep you in a place of familiarity, and if you like, when you want to make a change, when you want to achieve something different, that's unfamiliar. So it's about making what's currently unfamiliar more familiar and helping you to bridge the gap towards making that happen. So this is some of the typical BS that comes up for people: fear, perfectionism, negative thoughts. I won't read them all, but there's lots of different ones that come up in different disguises. But fundamentally, it is something that is out of date, something that is trying to keep you safe, and it's a mind block of some description that you can either hold on to that identity, or you can update it and upgrade it. The choice is always yours. And the framework that I use with my clients is the believe plus action equals achieve. And it's a cycle. It's it's never ending. That if you're not achieving the results you want, then usually it's because you don't believe it's possible, or you don't believe in yourself. And then if you're not taking the aligned action to make it happen, then you won't be achieving it. But equally, when you believe in yourself, when you take the right aligned action consistently, then you will achieve. And that goes on and round and round and round. So again, have that concept in your mind. If not achieving the results you want, then we need to kind of update those beliefs and the actions, and then you can make it happen. And then I have a process which I call the 3 W's for creating any change and transformation. I always already mentioned to you about how the mind has its own GPS system, and we're going to kind of borrow and lean into that concept a little bit more. So the first W in this process is to take stock, and again, turn the page, get a clean sheet, and just write where are you now? Where are you currently in your mind? I don't mean in your physical location, but I'm assuming you're watching this for a reason, that you're probably not completely satisfied with something and there's a change that you would like to make. So what's your current reality? Where are you now? What is it you're unhappy with? What is it you'd like to change? Because the way the mind works is like that sat nav, like that GPS, we get more of what we think about, we get more of what we focus on, we get more of what our mind's programmed for. And as humans, we're really exceptional at being able to talk about, in clarity, with emotion, about what we don't want. And if we keep thinking and talking about that, then we're effectively programming the mind, encouraging the mind, reminding the mind to keep going in that direction. So again, if you were going on a journey somewhere, would you program the sat nav? Would you look in a map for where you didn't want to go? To get to where you do want to go, then that's not going to help you. So that's where the second W comes into play. So it's really important to establish where you are, because unless you take stock of that, then you don't necessarily know the best way of getting you to where you do want to be. So it is important to identify that. I'm not saying don't give that any attention, but don't give that your sole attention. Once you get clear on where you are, then the second phase is to establish what it is that you want. And that is you then programming your inner sat nav for the outcome that you want. So again, press pause and take a moment or two to just think about, if you could wave that magic wand, what is your desired outcome? What is it you want to achieve? What are the results that you would like to obtain? And again, that's like you program the sat nav. And the beauty of that is life will continue to happen. There will be twists, there will be turns, there will be obstacles ahead. But when your mind knows where you want to go, it can do everything in its power to keep moving you there. And so if the road ahead is blocked, or life throws a curveball your way and knocks you off track, it becomes so much easier to get back on track because you know where you want to be going. And then the third piece, which is often the missing piece, often when I work with clients one-on-one and when we're sat down having a conversation, already it's not always, but more often than not, I'd say most people know where they are and what they're not happy with and what it is they want to achieve. And the bit that's missing is they haven't connected to their emotional fuel, the charge, which is the why. So again, if we're using the driving analogy for a moment, if you had decided where you want to go, you've planned for it, you've prepared for it, you're looking forward to it, your passengers are excited as well, but you haven't put any fuel in the tank to get you there. And that's not connecting to your why is like not putting the fuel in the car to get you there. The why is your personal, unique, individual motivation, emotional charge, the emotional fuel that kind of makes happen. To say, if the mind's primary objective is to keep you as you are, unless you give it enough of an incentive and a reason why it should change, it will stay as it is. It will default to its kind of standard settings. So in order to encourage it to change, then you need to connect to what the benefits are, what the consequences are, what the emotional differences are, what you get out of it. And it's all unique. There's not kind of one particular one that you need to be looking for. It usually isn't one big thing. It's usually a makeup of lots of different things. So spend some time thinking about your personal, unique why. If you could wave a magic wand and get to where you want to be, what would be so amazing about that? What's in it for you? And how would you feel once you're there? And again, using that kind of image, that's kind of putting it all together. So your current reality is where you are, your desired reality is what you want, and the bridge, the gap, the bridge to get you from where you are to where you want to be, to bridge the gap between the two, is the why. That's the charge and the momentum to make it happen. So it's really important to give that some thought. Resistance to achieving anything is always because of lack of clarity. If you haven't got clear enough as to what you want and why you want it, then the mind will just slip back into safe mode and keep you in your current reality. So that's why it's important to get clear on what you want and why you want it. And I've already mentioned you get more of what you focus on. So where is your focus? Are you focused on what you want, or are you focused on what you don't want? The choice is yours. Again, it's often when I'm with clients, I say it's like changing the channel. You know, if a song's come on the radio you don't like, change the channel. If there's a TV program that somebody else has been watching and you've come in the room and they've left, just because that's on doesn't mean you have to keep on watching it. You have the power to change it. And again, not many people have been taught some basics on how the mind works and how you can operate your own mind, and we just tend to leave it to chance. But once you understand, once you know, then that's when it's possible that you can start to make some changes. So if you get more of what you focus on, you get more of what you think about, where's your focus? You focus on what you want or where you don't want. So again, spend a couple of moments to get some clarity on what your desired reality is. And just to highlight about we get more of what we focus on and minding your language. Language is the language, the words that we use really does impact the subconscious mind. So if you're talking about what you don't want, if you're talking in negatives, I can't do this, I haven't got this, I'm not very good at that, then you're reinforcing that stuck state. So to illustrate my point out of context, if I was to say to you, think of any part of your body, but don't think of your left foot. Think of anything, but you can't think of your left foot. Even if it's just for a split nanosecond, your mind first has to go there before it can go anywhere else. So if you're constantly thinking and talking about what you're not very good at, what you can't do, what you don't want, what you're not doing, what you haven't done, then you're reinforcing that and keeping you stuck in that lane. Again, you're reinforcing the internal kind of programming to keep going in that direction. And the mind cannot process a negative without first thinking about doing it. So you're not going to stop thinking and talking in negatives. But what I want you to do is have the awareness that if that pops into your mind, then use this awareness to then turn it around and say, okay, if that's what I don't want, if that's where I don't want to be, what's the opposite? If I was to flip it 180 degrees, what's the opposite of that? And to give it a couple of other examples, you know, when I work with clients to help them to break habits, whether that be to stop smoking or some eating habits, you know, most diets tell people they can't have something, and when you're told you can't have it, it just makes you want it even more. It's like that can't stands for constant, never-ending tantrum. It's like that childlike mentality that we just think about too much. And again, the reason why when people try to stop smoking, for example, all the literature and all the messages are usually negatively driven, and that alone isn't enough to help people to make a change. So in your mind, in your imagination, I want you just to be aware of the thoughts, the words, the language that you're using, and ask yourself, is it moving me towards what I want, or is it keeping me away from it, or moving me further away from it? So it's up to you. And then the other thing that I work quite a lot with clients, probably the majority of my clients will come into me and we need to do some work on their energy management. And this is, I've shared on social quite a few times, and it usually gets a good response. Would you let this happen to your phone? Most people are glued to their phone. Most people use their phone an awful lot. And, it's that important to them. They don't let it run on empty. So don't let it happen to yourself. You know, whether it be just the demands and busyness and stress of day-to-day life, whether it be, overuse, whether it be overwhelm, stress, anxiety, there's so many things pulling from our kind of reserves and resources that unless we are proactive and do things to help keep it topped up, then it can soon run on empty. And that's important because, you can't continue when you're running on empty. You can't make the best decisions. You don't think clearly when you're running on empty. So allow yourself to give some consideration to how and why it's important for you, and what are some of the things you can do to help keep your battery topped up. And again, you've heard the sayings, things like, put your own oxygen mask on first. You can't pour from an empty cup. So sometimes there's that kind of cliche of self-care, and people find that a bit selfish and a bit self-indulgent. But I want you to think of it slightly differently. Just if that doesn't work for you, imagine your battery charge like your phone, and it's just, how can I optimize it? How can I maximize it? How can I stop it from running on empty? And sometimes, it might be that it just needs a quick boost. Other times it might need a full charge, but we're going to look at a few different things in a moment. And the best thing you can do is have a variety of things that can help keep it topped up. And the reason why it's important to be proactive is because life will continue to happen, and you are human and you're not a robot. You will have and experience thoughts, feelings, and emotions that will kind of impact you. So it's important to have that self-awareness and the ability to react and respond to things as best you possibly can. And that's when I encourage my clients to look at what I call mind fitness strategies. I said earlier, mindset is very much like the physical well-being. You don't go to the gym once, you don't go for a walk once, you don't have one healthy meal and think, right, I've sorted out my physical stuff, I don't need to do that again. And the mindset is the same. You don't listen to a meditation once, you don't do some breathing exercises once, you don't say a couple of affirmations to yourself and then tick it off and never have to do it again. For best results, for best outcome, it's about developing like you would develop a physical muscle, and having some strategies that are just woven in to the fabric of your day-to-day life to help to optimize it is the best way forward. So how can you be proactive with some mind fitness strategies? And time is the biggest excuse that people have, and we're all busy, we've all got different demands on us, but it always amuses me, particularly nowadays. In the old days I used to say to people, well, how many hours of TV are you watching an evening? If you're watching that soap and this and that episode and that, there's a few hours you've just kind of wasted. Don't get me wrong, sitting down, that can form a mind fitness strategy. But if you're doing it all the time, or then using it as an excuse that you haven't got time to do other things, then that's when sometimes it can be problematic. But nowadays, with the phone being glued to our hand and even getting a weekly reminder of how often we're using our phone, my question to you is, do you spend 15 minutes or more when you're not working, either scrolling on your phone, using social media, or doom scrolling, as we sometimes call it, or just watching endless amounts of TV? And again, it's not a criticism They're all, it's the way of life, you know, but it's about management and doing that in balance with other things that are helping to keep your mind fitness as topped up and as optimum as you possibly can. So the reason I said 15 minutes is because start with 15 minutes. What can you do for a focus of 15 minutes every single day to develop, to enhance, to work on your own mind fitness, also known as feel good in 15? There's lots of different things, you know, there's lots of different things you can do. I'm not going to sit here and preach to you about how you should do it. You know, we're all different. We all have different kind of needs, life demands, time available to us, preferences, and we're all starting from different places. So just have a look at that, you know. And if you haven't done some of the things before, then maybe have a go. If you've done it before and they weren't as effective, well, you're in a different place now, so give them another go. If you do need some help with some of these things, then let me know. I'll leave a link in the comments. You know, for example, the meditation, the guided relaxation, the self-hypnosis. On my YouTube channel, I have a handful, a range of short, less than 10-minute guided meditations on different themes, different topics. So that's a great place to start. I do have others. So if you know that's of interest to you, just reach out and get in touch. And there may be something that I've got that would be a good fit for you. But yeah, reading, going for a walk, you know, just having a soak in the bath. All these things count. There isn't a right or wrong, but the reason I've put this on here is because I want you to start just brainstorming. Create a list in your journal or even on your phone of all the things that you do that help to fill your cup up, that help to give you a boost, to help to give you a charge. And then make a promise to yourself. Make a promise to yourself. Do some form of mind fitness, your focus 15 every single day. And then the focus 30 is if you could just commit to one thing you can do for the next 30 days and you could do it every single day, what would you choose? If there was something that would move the needle for you, that would help you out, if you could just commit to it, if you broke down all the different noise and distractions and just committed to doing one thing, what would that be that you could do for the next 30 days? So again, write it down and commit to it. And then we've said about how important the language is. We'll pick a word or a phrase, a mantra that just symbolizes to you how you want to feel, what you want to achieve, where you want to be in 30 days' time. And it could be something as simple as calm or relaxed or as happy. And just use that word to symbolize your next chapter, the next season, the next kind of milestone of what you're working towards. So your focus promised yourself, focus 15, focus 30, and your focus word. And all of these strategies are helping to update both your conscious and your subconscious for aligned, consistent action. Conscious effort alone usually requires a lot more hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and usually we get distracted and we're not able to persevere long enough for it to kind of permeate through to the subconscious mind, which is why I end up working with people one-on-one and why I have different online programs and workshops and audios to help people to update the subconscious mind. So if you're at that point where you feel like you need the next bit of help, again, reach out. It may be that I've got a resource for you. It may be that working together one-on-one might be a good fit, but let me know and we can have a chat about that. But ultimately, you've got a choice. You can choose to invest your time and energy in developing your mind, or you can leave it to chance and just hope for the best. Either way, it's your choice. What is it that your future self would thank you for? And as I've said to you, if I can help you in any way, reach out, get in touch, let me know, and let's see what we can do. But for now, I want you just to make a note, have a think. What's one thing that you're going to take away from this workshop? Comment below, let me know. I look forward to hearing from it. Again, like I say, I've raced through a lot of these concepts quickly, which is why I wanted this as a reference that people could come back and watch and replay and listen to, because I've worked with clients multiple times over the years. And, you know, when I go over some of these basics again, it's sometimes that they're hearing it for the first time. They've heard it before. They didn't get that bit from it previously, or because they're in a different place, it's landed differently. It's resonated with them in a different way. So I don't expect you to listen to these concepts once, especially if this is new to you, and to get it all straight away. But that's why I'm asking you to think about, you know, whenever I write a blog post or a video, I always think if you could just take one thing from it, then that's worthwhile. So have a think. What's one thing that you can take away from this workshop and you can implement, you can take action on, and can help you to move forward in your chosen area for life? And remember, believe, plus action equals achieve. Believe in yourself, take action, and you can achieve the life, the goals, and the results that you want. But that's it for today. That's it for this workshop. Thank you very much. Feel free to keep in touch, connect on social media. Let me know that you've watched this workshop. Let me know what you've taken away from it. And as always, if you have any questions, then feel free to let me know. And if you would like to experience one of my mind mastery meditations, then like I say, I have the link below to the ones on YouTube. And you can also visit my website, christianbaker.net/free, and you can get access to my relax and unwind mindset reset audio. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found that beneficial. And I very much look forward to hearing how you get on, what you've taken away from this workshop. And I look forward to hearing what your next level results look like in your life. Thanks again for taking the time to tune in to watch this, and more importantly, to do the work. And remember, feel free to go back over it again and again as often as you need to help you to develop your mind fitness, so you can achieve the life and the goals that you want. And remember, what your mind believes, you will achieve. Come on, you've got this.